Hello out there, YouTube. It is part 5, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, this is part 5 of the examining the Chinese manufacturers. These are all the ones that I've preferred over the last videos, the individual knives. So, clean up real quick. In the last video I said I was going to talk about the Rough Riders. Now, I'm going to be honest, I don't really know a lot. I'm not that, I don't have just a ton of experience with traditional knives. But in the brief moment that I've had these and had the opportunity to handle these, I have learned one thing for sure. But I'll get to that shortly. So these are both, these are just a couple of random examples of the Rough Rider brand knives. Now these are manufactured in China just like all the rest of these. I got these because they have bone scales and because they're traditionals. So each of these is has 2 blades. Now, what I will say about these knives, and again, I am not in the least experienced. I am severely lacking in the experience of traditionals. So don't take whatever I say for gospel, so to speak. But what I will say with these knives, and these are really inexpensive knives. I believe I got both of these knives for $15 or so a piece. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that they compare to a Case or a Great Eastern Cutlery or anything like that. But bone scales, 440 stainless. But I'm not really judging them based off of that. These particular knives, I'm not going to do any kind of real heavy work with. These are really all show. So I want them to kind of look a certain way. And I genuinely feel like this one certainly does. There's a lot of detail in this. I'll get into that one. This one obviously has some kind of straight razor type of blade to it. It's got a nice little finger choil up here, so when you're not really using this to shave yourself, you can get a lot of control by choking up on the blade. The other one's just a, your standard clip point. And on this one, you got some kind of, wonky butter knife or something like that. I don't have the slightest idea what's the point of this knife design, or blade shape, I should say. And then again, you've got another clip point. I really like this one. Of these 2 knives, I definitely prefer this one. So yeah, I'm going to talk about this one real quick. And they're both, again, bone scales. I can't tell if that's brass or just like if these bolsters are brass or if they're just some kind of chromed stainless, or high polished stainless. I doubt they're stainless though. Anyway, yeah, it's got the straight razor blade, the clip point. I will say with both of these knives, the fit and finish is surprisingly good for as inexpensive as it was. There's really no point on this, either of these knives, where it's particularly sharp. Everything's rounded and knocked down nicely. And they would feel good in hand, except for one thing, which is a lesson I learned in this project. So this one, like I said, the second blade, I don't necessarily understand the point of it. Nobody's really going to shave with this thing, right? And again, on this one, the second blade, I just don't understand the point of it. Seriously, am I spreading butter with this thing? What is it? I prefer this one more for a couple of reasons. The flaws with this one, I don't understand this blade. I don't understand why they're both coming off of the same side. Why not have them open out like this instead of like this? It doesn't make sense. All it does really is just jack up the ergonomics of it. Now, poor ergonomics because of the second blade is a problem I ran into with both of these. The lesson I learned here is that if I'm going to buy traditionals, I'm going to buy just single blade traditionals, because ergonomically this one would be fantastic if it weren't for that second blade. Like, I feel like I could really get on here and actually whittle a stick, you know what I'm saying? Except for this is just in the way. So I think a single blade traditional is really more for me. Second reason that I don't really care for this one as much is if you watch when I shut it and when I open it versus this one when I open it and shut it. This one, see, neither of these have a lock, so this one is your traditional slip joint with a half stop. This one has no half stop. I'm not a fan. Really like it, really don't. And it's not because of the red bone or whatever. I just bought it because it was inexpensive and bone. Yeah, this knife is just, of the two, substantially better for the sake of ergonomics, the half stop, the overall finish. I really don't mind this knife. I actually quite like this knife. And if it were just a single blade, I could see myself carrying this from time to time. So if you're in the market for a traditional and don't mind that it's from China, you know, the Rough Rider knives, not a terrible thing to start off with. If you're not interested in spending 70 to, I mean, I guess some, like the Benchmade proper is a traditional by definition slip joint. If you're not into spending $70 to $200 on a slip joint, you really only want to spend $15 or $20. Rough Rider's not a bad way to go. I mean, they have a nice, like I said, they have a nice finish to them. The Tobacco, I don't know if Tobacco Road is just the name of this particular knife or if it's part of a series of knives. If you can find a single blade Tobacco Road, I would recommend it. It's a fine knife. Not my favorite. Not really a traditional kind of guy with respect to knives, I guess. But for what it's worth, not bad. So that's pretty much it. Rough Rider. You'll see this one again in the future videos. So, in the next series, I suspect I will talk about, you know what? I'm going to do this. In the next video, I'm going to talk about the Civivis. Only 2 left in this Chinese knives. Well, in these Chinese knives. Then I've got a similar video that's going to be after that, but it's similar in a lot of ways, but it's different. So next video, we're going to talk about Civivis. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down in the comments below, and have a great night.